The basket of oranges fell from her hands when she saw it. That mark. The same mark her dying mother had hidden under her sleeve for 10 years. But this mark was on the wrist of the richest man in the city. Her heart stopped. Her mother always said some secrets could destroy us. She was right. Because when she ran home to tell her what she'd seen, everything changed. What happened 3 days later changed everything. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video, share, and subscribe. Also tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Is it United States, London, maybe Canada, Jamaica, Barbados, or anywhere? We want to know. The sun beat down hard on the crowded streets. Dust kicked up from passing cars and motorcycles. People shouted everywhere. Vendors called out prices. Children ran between legs and baskets. The smell of roasted corn mixed with exhaust fumes and sweat. 10-year-old Florence wiped her forehead with the back of her hand. The basket of oranges on her head felt heavier with each step. Her thin arms ached. Her worn sandals slapped against the hot pavement. She had been walking since 5 in the morning. It was now almost noon. Oranges. Sweet oranges, she called out, her voice small against the noise of the city. A woman stopped and squeezed 3 oranges before shaking her head and walking away. Florence's stomach twisted. She had only sold 2 oranges all morning. 2 oranges meant 40 cents. 40 cents would not buy her mother's medicine. 40 cents would not buy rice for dinner. She thought about her mother lying on the thin mattress at home. Coughing. Always coughing now. The sound rattled in her chest like broken glass. Last night, there had been blood on the cloth her mother used to cover her mouth. Small drops. Red against white. Florence had pretended not to see it. Her mother had pretended she didn't know Florence was watching. Move out of the way, child. A man pushed past her, almost knocking her basket to the ground. Florence steadied herself. Her fingers gripped the basket edge. She couldn't afford to lose even 1 orange. Each orange was 5 cents of hope. 5 cents closer to keeping her mother alive. Florence turned down Market Street. The hotels were here. Big buildings with glass doors and men in uniforms standing outside. Rich people came and went in shiny cars. Sometimes tourists dropped coins. Sometimes they didn't even notice the coins falling. Florence had learned to watch the ground near expensive hotels. That's when she saw him. He stood outside the Grand Palace Hotel. Tall. His suit looked like it cost more than everything Florence owned. More than everything her mother owned. Maybe more than their entire house. People surrounded him. Men in suits. Women with bright lipstick and high heels. Everyone smiled at him. Everyone wanted his attention. But Florence wasn't looking at his suit or his expensive watch or his perfect shoes. She was looking at his wrist. Her breath stopped in her throat. Her heart began to pound so hard she could hear it in her ears. There. Right there on his wrist. A small mark. A symbol. 3 lines crossing a circle with a small star at the center. Florence knew that mark. She had seen it 1,000 times. Hidden under her mother's sleeve. Her mother never showed it. She always covered it. But Florence had seen it when her mother washed clothes. When she changed bandages on her thin arms. When she thought no one was watching. The exact same mark. How could this rich man have her mother's mark? Florence's mind raced. Her mother said the mark was special. That it meant something. But she never explained what. Whenever Florence asked, her mother's eyes would fill with tears. She would shake her head. Some things are better left buried, my sweet girl, she would whisper. But this man had the mark. The exact same mark. A security guard looked at Florence. Hey, girl. Move along. This isn't a place for street vendors. Florence's legs wouldn't move. She stared at the man. He was laughing now at something someone said. His phone rang. He pulled it from his pocket. As he brought it to his ear, Florence saw the mark again. Clear. Unmistakable. I said move along. The security guard stepped toward her. Florence ran. Her sandals slapped the pavement. The basket bounced on her head. Oranges rolled everywhere. She didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Her mind spun with questions. With possibilities. With fears she couldn't name. Who was that man? Why did he have her mother's mark? What did it mean? She ran through the crowded market. Past the food vendors. Past the fabric sellers. Past the women braiding hair under trees. She ran until her lungs burned. Until her legs felt like water. Until she reached the narrow street where she lived. Their house was small. 1 room. Tin roof that leaked when it rained. But it was home. It was all they had. Florence burst through the door. Her mother lay on the sofa. The old brown sofa with springs poking through. A thin blanket covered her body. Her eyes were closed. Her chest rose and fell with effort. Each breath sounded wet. Painful. Mom. Florence's voice came out as a whisper. Mom, wake up. Her mother's eyes opened slowly. They were tired. So tired. But they still held love when they looked at Florence. Florence. Her mother tried to sit up. The coughing started immediately. Hard coughs that shook her whole body. Florence ran to get water. Her hands trembled as she held the cup to her mother's lips. Her mother drank. The coughing slowed. Stopped. You're home early, her mother said, her voice rough. Did something happen? Florence sat on the edge of the sofa. Her heart still pounded. She looked at her mother's arm. At the sleeve covering the mark. Mom, she said slowly. I saw something today. Someone. Her mother's eyes focused on Florence. Waiting. There was a man. Outside the Grand Palace Hotel. He had a mark. On his wrist. Florence watched her mother's face. Watched the color drain away. Watched her eyes go wide with something that looked like fear. Like panic. What kind of mark? Her mother's voice was barely a whisper. Like yours, Mom. Exactly like yours. 3 lines crossing a circle. With a small star in the center. The cup fell from her mother's hand. Water spilled across the floor. Her mother's whole body went stiff. Her hands began to shake. No. The word came out broken. No, Florence. You didn't see that. You couldn't have. But I did, Mom. I saw it clearly. He was rich. So rich. Everyone around him was. Stop. Her mother's voice was sharp. Desperate. She grabbed Florence's shoulders. Her grip was weak but urgent. Listen to me, Florence. Listen carefully. You didn't see that. You understand? You forget about that man. You forget about that mark. You never speak of this again. Tears filled Florence's eyes. But Mom, why? Who is he? Why does he have your mark? What does it mean? Her mother's hands dropped. She fell back against the sofa. Tears ran down her cheeks. She looked older suddenly. More broken than Florence had ever seen her. Please, baby, her mother whispered. Please just forget. Some secrets are too dangerous. Too painful. They can destroy everything. But what if he can help us? Florence's voice cracked. What if he has money for your medicine? What if he knows something about Dad? What if? No. Her mother's voice was fierce now. Stronger than it had been in months. Florence, you don't understand. That world, that life. I left it behind for a reason. I left it to protect you. To keep you safe. Safe from what? Florence was crying now. Hot tears running down her face. Safe from what, Mom? We're dying here. You're dying. You need medicine we can't afford. We need food. We need help. And there's a man out there with your mark. Your secret mark. And you won't even tell me why. Her mother closed her eyes. More tears leaked out. Her whole body seemed to collapse inward. You don't know what you're asking, she whispered. You don't know what happened. What I lost. What I gave up. Florence wiped her eyes. Then tell me, Mom. Please. I'm not a baby anymore. I sell oranges in the street. I watch you cough up blood. I count coins every night hoping we'll have enough for one more day. I'm not a baby. Tell me the truth. The room fell silent. Outside, children played in the street. A radio played music somewhere. Life continued. But inside this small room, time seemed to stop. Her mother opened her eyes. Looked at Florence. Really looked at her. And in that look, Florence saw everything. The pain. The regret. The love. The fear. If I tell you, her mother said quietly, everything will change. Everything you think you know about me. About us. About who you are. Once I tell you, there's no going back. Florence's heart hammered in her chest. Part of her wanted to run. To unhear the question she had asked. To go back to this morning when life was simple. Hard, but simple. But she couldn't. She had seen the mark. She had seen the man. And something deep inside her knew that her mother was right. Everything was about to change. Tell me, Florence whispered. Her mother took a shaking breath. Looked at the ceiling. Then back at Florence. That man, she said, her voice breaking, that man you saw today. She paused. Swallowed hard. He was the love of my life. And you're... A knock at the door shattered the moment. Both of them jumped. Florence's mother grabbed her arm hard. The knock came again. Louder this time. Urgent. Mrs. Kate. A voice called from outside. Mrs. Kate, open up. It's Mr. James from the landlord's office. Florence's mother went pale. The rent, she whispered. We're 3 months behind. Mrs. Kate. I know you're in there. Open this door or I'll have to. The door burst open. Mr. James stood in the doorway. He was a large man with a round belly and small eyes. Behind him stood 2 other men. Bigger men. Men who looked like they broke things for a living. Mrs. Kate, Mr. James said, shaking his head slowly. 3 months. 3 months of patience. 3 months of excuses. No more. Florence's mother tried to stand. The effort made her cough. She fell back onto the sofa. Please, she gasped between coughs. Just 1 more week. I have some sewing work coming. I can pay you. You said that last month. Mr. James stepped inside. His eyes moved around the room, taking inventory, looking at their few possessions. And the month before. I've been kind, Mrs. Kate. But kindness doesn't pay bills. Florence stepped forward. We'll get your money. I'm selling more oranges. I'm working harder. We just need. You need to leave. Mr. James's voice was flat. Final. You have until Friday. That's 3 days. Pack your things. Find somewhere else to go. But where? Florence's voice rose. Where can we go? My mother is sick. She can't. Not my problem. Mr. James turned to leave. Then stopped. Looked back. You should have thought about that before you decided living here for free was acceptable. The door slammed shut. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Crushing. Florence's mother buried her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook. But no sound came out. She had no tears left. Florence's mind raced. 3 days. They had 3 days to find somewhere to live. But there was nowhere. No family. No friends with extra space. No money for rent anywhere else. Unless. Florence looked at her mother. At the sleeve covering the mark. Mom, she said quietly. That man. The one with your mark. If he was important to you. If he's rich. Maybe he could. No. Her mother's voice was dead. Empty. I told you. That part of my life is over. Dead. Buried. But we're going to be on the street. Florence's voice cracked. You're sick. You need medicine. We need help. We'll figure something out. Her mother's words sounded hollow. Like she didn't believe them herself. Florence stood up. Her hands curled into fists. No, Mom. I'm going to find him. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to ask him. Florence, don't you dare. Her mother tried to stand again. Failed. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know who these people are. What they're capable of. Then tell me. Florence shouted. Stop keeping secrets. Stop protecting me from things I need to know. I'm 10 years old, and I'm watching you die. I'm watching us lose everything. And you won't even let me try to save us. Her mother stared at her. Tears streaming down her face. You think he'll help? She whispered. You think after everything, after what his family did to me? You think he'll care about a poor sick woman and her daughter? I don't know, Florence said. But I have to try. Because doing nothing means we die on the street. The words hung in the air. Brutal. True. Her mother closed her eyes. If you go to him, she said slowly, if you find him and tell him about me, everything will come out. Everything. His family will know. And they will come for us. They will finish what they started 10 years ago. What did they start? Florence's voice was quieter now. Mom, please. Help me understand. Her mother was silent for a long time. So long that Florence thought she wouldn't answer. Then, finally, she spoke. I was 19, she began. Young. Stupid. I worked as a maid in a big house. The biggest house I'd ever seen. Marble floors. Crystal chandeliers. Gardens that went on forever. I cleaned rooms and served food and stayed invisible. That was the job. Be invisible. Florence sat back down. Listening. But he saw me, her mother continued. The son of the family. He saw me. And I made the mistake of looking back. Of smiling. Of thinking that maybe Maybe I could be more than invisible. Her mother's voice grew softer, distant, like she was watching a movie of her own life. We fell in love. Secret love. Hidden love. We met in the garden at night. In empty rooms during the day. He promised me things. A future. A life together. He said his family would understand. That love was stronger than money or status or reputation. Florence's chest tightened. She knew how this story ended. It ended here. In this small room. With her mother dying on a broken sofa. I got pregnant, her mother whispered. With you. The words hit Florence like a punch. Her breath left her lungs. He was happy. So happy. He said we'd get married. He'd tell his family. Everything would work out. Her mother's voice cracked. But I was naive. So naive. I didn't understand how the world worked. How people like them saw people like me. What happened? Florence could barely speak. His mother found out. The words came out bitter. Poisonous. She came to me one night. Alone. She offered me money. A lot of money. Enough to disappear. To go far away. To raise you somewhere he would never find us. Florence's hands shook. And you took it? No. Kate looked at Florence. Her eyes fierce despite the tears. I said no. I said I loved him. That he loved me. That we were going to be a family. I believed in fairness. In love winning. I believed in stupid fairy tales. She laughed. A broken sound. So she took everything. She fired me. Threw me out. Told everyone I was a thief. A liar. A girl trying to trap her son with a fake pregnancy. She made sure no one in the city would hire me. She destroyed my name. My reputation. Everything. Florence felt sick. And him? What did he do? Her mother's face crumpled. He believed her. His own mother. She showed him fake evidence. Fake witnesses. She convinced him I was using him. That the baby wasn't his. That I was just a poor girl looking for a rich husband. But the mark, Florence said. You both have the mark. Doesn't that prove? The mark was our promise, her mother interrupted. We got them together. A secret symbol. A bond that couldn't be broken. He said as long as we both had it, we'd always find our way back to each other. She laughed again. That broken sound. But marks fade. Promises break. And rich families always win. Florence felt tears running down her face. Did you ever try to tell him the truth? I tried. Her mother's voice was barely audible. I went back. Many times. But his family had guards. Lawyers. They threatened me. Said if I ever came near him again, I'd go to jail. That they'd take you away from me. Put you in an orphanage where I'd never see you again. She took a shaking breath. So I ran. I changed my cities. I worked any job I could find. I raised you alone. And I made sure you'd never know. Never know that your father was alive. That he was rich. That he could have given us everything if only he'd believed me. If only he'd fought for us. Florence's mind spun. The man outside the hotel. The man with the mark. That was her father. Her father was alive. Her father was rich. Her father didn't know she existed. Mom, Florence whispered. Does he know about me? Does he know you were telling the truth? Her mother shook her head. I don't know. Maybe he figured it out later. Maybe he searched. Or maybe he moved on. Got married. Had other children. Forgot about the poor maid who tried to trap him. The bitterness in her voice was thick. Years of pain compressed into words. Florence stood up. Her legs felt weak, but her mind was clear. I'm going to find him, she said. Florence, no. I'm going to tell him the truth. Florence's voice was stronger now. I'm going to show him you weren't lying. I'm going to make him see. Baby, please. We have 3 days before we're on the street, Mom. 3 days. I have to try. Her mother grabbed her hand. Florence, listen to me. Even if he believes you. Even if he wants to help. His family will destroy us. They are powerful. They are dangerous. They will. Let them try. Florence pulled her hand free. I'm not afraid of them. And I'm not going to watch you die because of their lies. She walked to the door. Florence. Her mother's voice was desperate. At least be careful. Don't tell him who you are right away. Watch him. See what kind of man he became. See if there's any of the boy I loved still left inside him. Florence looked back. Her mother looked so defeated by life. "I'll be careful," Florence promised. "But I won't give up. Not like you did." The words came out harsher than she meant. She saw her mother flinch. But Florence didn't take them back. She couldn't. Because they were true. She stepped out into the afternoon sun. The door closed behind her. For a moment, she stood there. Breathing. Thinking. Planning. Then she started walking. Back toward the Grand Palace Hotel. Back toward the man who was her father. Back toward a truth that had been buried for 10 years. The streets were still crowded. Still loud. But Florence didn't notice. Her mind was miles away. Imagining the conversation. The confrontation. The moment when she'd look into his eyes and say, "I'm your daughter." Would he believe her? Would he care? Would he help? Or would he be like his mother? Cold. Cruel. Willing to sacrifice anything to protect his perfect life? Florence didn't know. But she was about to find out. She reached the Grand Palace Hotel as the sun began to set. The man was gone. The crowd around him had dispersed. Only security guards remained. Florence approached one. "Excuse me," she said, her voice small. "The man who was here earlier. The one in the expensive suit. Do you know where he went?" The guard looked down at her. "What's it to you, girl?" I need to talk to him. It's important." The guard laughed. "You and everyone else. Mr. Isaac doesn't talk to street kids. Go home." Mr. Isaac. So that was his name. Her father's name. Isaac. Florence felt the name settle in her chest. Heavy. Strange. Real. "Please," she tried again. "If you could just tell me where." "I said go home." The guard stepped toward her. "Before I call the police." Florence backed away. Her heart sank. She'd come all this way. Worked up all this courage. And she couldn't even get close to him. She turned to leave. Defeated. That's when she saw the car. A black car with tinted windows. Pulling up to the hotel entrance. The back door opened. And Isaac stepped out. Florence froze. He was even taller up close. Even more intimidating. His face was handsome but tired. Lines around his eyes. Gray streaks in his hair. He looked like a man who carried the weight of the world. He walked toward the hotel entrance. Right past Florence. She could smell his cologne. Expensive. Clean. Her mouth opened. Words tried to form. But nothing came out. He was 3 steps away. 2 steps. 1 step. "Excuse me." The words burst out of Florence before she could stop them. Isaac stopped. Turned. Looked down at her. His eyes were brown. Warm. Kind eyes trapped in a tired face. "Yes?" His voice was deep. Gentle. Florence's courage evaporated. What was she supposed to say? "Hi, I'm your daughter you didn't know existed? Your mother lied to you 10 years ago? Can you please save my dying mother?" Florence's voice shook. I sell oranges. Would you like to buy some oranges? I will go bring them for you." Isaac smiled. A small, sad smile. "I don't need oranges, sweetheart. But thank you." He turned to walk away. "Wait." Florence's desperation made her bold. "Please. Just 1 orange. I haven't eaten all day. Neither has my mom. She's sick. Really sick. Please." Isaac stopped again. Looked at her. Really looked this time. His eyes traveled over her worn clothes. Her dusty sandals. Her thin arms. He reached into his pocket. Pulled out his wallet. Florence's breath caught. She saw it again. The mark on his wrist. Clear. Undeniable. He pulled out a $50 bill. Handed it to her. Florence's hands shook as she took it. $50. More money than she'd seen in months. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." Something flickered in Isaac's eyes. Recognition? Memory? She couldn't tell. "What's your name?" Isaac asked suddenly. Florence's heart stopped. Should she tell him? Should she lie? "Florence," she said quietly. "My name is Florence." "Florence," he repeated. "That's a beautiful name. How old are you?" 10. Another flicker in his eyes. Stronger this time. He stared at her. His face had gone pale. "And your mother?" His voice had changed. Quieter. Urgent. "What's your mother's name?" Florence's heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst from her chest. This was it. The moment. The truth. Kate, she whispered. Her name is Kate. The wallet fell from Isaac's hand. Bills scattered on the ground. His face went white. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened but no sound came out. The security guards rushed forward. Mr. Isaac? Sir, are you all right? But Isaac wasn't listening. He was staring at Florence like she was a ghost. Like she was impossible. Like she was everything he'd lost and could never have again. Kate, same Kate, he whispered. Kate had a daughter. Kate had, you. Tears filled Florence's eyes. Yes, same Kate, she never lied to you, she said, her voice breaking. She never lied. And now she's dying. And I don't know how to save her. Isaac's legs seemed to give out. He reached for the wall. Steadied himself. Where is she? His voice was hoarse. Desperate. Where is Kate? Florence opened her mouth to answer. That's when the black car's window rolled down. A woman sat inside. Older. Elegant. Her face was hard. Her eyes were cold. She looked at Florence. Then at Isaac. Then back at Florence. And Florence saw something in those eyes that made her blood run cold. Recognition. And rage. Isaac, the woman said, her voice like ice. Get in the car. Now. Isaac didn't move. He kept staring at Florence. Isaac. The woman's voice grew sharp. I said get in the car. Mother, Now. The security guards moved. They gently but firmly guided Isaac toward the car. He resisted. Reached for Florence. Wait. Please. I need to know. But the guards were stronger. They put him in the car. The door slammed shut. Through the tinted window, Florence saw the woman lean toward Isaac. Saw her mouth moving. Fast. Angry. Isaac's face crumpled. He looked out the window at Florence. His hand pressed against the glass. The mark visible. Clear. Florence pressed her hand against the outside of the window. Her small hand against his large one. Only glass between them. The car pulled away. Florence stood there. Alone. The $50 bill crumpled in her hand. She had found her father. He had recognized her mother's name. He had believed. He had cared. But his mother had taken him away. Just like 10 years ago. History repeating itself. Florence looked down at the money in her hand. Then up at the disappearing car. And she made a decision. This wasn't over. She wouldn't let it be over. She would find him again. And next time, she wouldn't let him leave. Next time, she'd make him hear everything. Next time, she'd fight. Because she'd seen something in his eyes. Something important. He still loved her mother. After 10 years. After lies. After pain. He still loved her. And love like that didn't die easy. Florence turned and ran home. She had to tell her mother. Had to tell her that Isaac knew. That he remembered. That he still cared. She burst through the door. Mom. Mom, I found him. I talked to him. He knows about you. He. The room was empty. The sofa was empty. The blanket lay on the floor. Mom? Florence's voice shook. Mom, where are you? She checked the tiny bathroom. Empty. She checked outside. Empty. Panic rose in Florence's throat. She ran to the neighbor's door. Pounded on it. Mrs. Ruth opened the door. Her face was sad. Mrs. Ruth, have you seen my mom? Oh, child. Mrs. Ruth's voice was soft. Pitying. The ambulance came. About an hour ago. Your mother collapsed. They took her to City Hospital. The world tilted. Florence's ears rang. Is she? Florence couldn't finish the sentence. I don't know, baby. But you should go. Quickly. Florence ran. She ran faster than she'd ever run. The $50 bill clutched in her hand. Her only hope. Her only weapon. The hospital was across town. It took her 30 minutes. By the time she arrived, her lungs burned. Her legs shook. Sweat poured down her face. She rushed to the front desk. My mother, she gasped. Kate. They brought her here. Please, I need to see her. The nurse looked at her computer. Her face grew serious. Are you family? I'm her daughter. Please. Is she okay? The nurse stood. Come with me. They walked down long white hallways. The smell of medicine and death filled the air. Machines beeped. People cried behind closed doors. The nurse stopped outside a room. She's stable. For now. But. The nurse hesitated. She needs treatment. Expensive treatment. Without it. She didn't finish. She didn't have to. Florence understood. Without money, her mother would die. Can I see her? The nurse nodded. Opened the door. Florence stepped inside. Her mother lay in the hospital bed. So small. So pale. Tubes ran from her arms. A machine monitored her heartbeat. Beep. 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 Florence walked to the bed. Took her mother's hand. Her mother's eyes opened slowly. Focused on Florence. Baby, she whispered. You came. Of course I came. Tears ran down Florence's face. I'll always come. Did you? Her mother coughed weakly. Did you find him? Yes. Florence squeezed her hand. Mom, he knows. He remembers. I said your name and he knew. He knew everything. He still. The door burst open. Florence turned. A man in a suit stood there. Behind him was a woman. The woman from the car. Isaac's mother. She smiled. But it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator who'd found its prey. Well, she said, walking into the room. Isn't this touching? Florence stepped in front of her mother's bed. Her body small but defiant. Get out, she said, her voice shaking. You're not welcome here. The woman laughed. A cold sound that made Florence's skin crawl. I don't think you understand your position, child. This is a private hospital. Very expensive. And your mother. She looked at Kate with disgust. Your mother has no insurance. No money. No way to pay for the oxygen she's breathing right now. Kate tried to sit up. Failed. Margaret, she whispered. Please. Leave her alone. This is between you and me. No. Margaret's voice was sharp. This stopped being between us the moment you sent your daughter to manipulate my son. The moment you decided to crawl out of whatever hole you've been hiding in for 10 years. I didn't send her. Kate's voice grew stronger despite her weakness. I told her to stay away. I told her to forget. And yet, here we are. Margaret walked closer to the bed. Her expensive perfume filled the room. Your daughter. Standing in front of Isaac at my hotel. Speaking your name. Looking at him with those big eyes. Very clever. Very calculated. It wasn't like that. Florence's hands curled into fists. I just wanted. I don't care what you wanted. Margaret's eyes were like ice. I care about what you're going to do now. Which is leave. Disappear. Just like your mother should have stayed disappeared. The man in the suit stepped forward. He opened a briefcase. Pulled out papers and a check. This is $25,000, he said, his voice flat and professional. Enough for your treatment. Enough to move far away. Start a new life. All you have to do is sign this agreement stating that you will never contact Isaac again. You will never claim to be his daughter. You will never tell anyone about your connection to his family. Florence stared at the check. $25,000. More money than she'd ever imagined. Enough to save her mother. Enough to have a real life. All she had to do was lie. Pretend Isaac didn't exist. Give up before she'd even begun. And if I don't sign? Florence's voice was quiet but steady. Margaret smiled again. That predator smile. Then your mother doesn't get treatment. She dies. Tonight. Maybe tomorrow. But soon. And you watch her die knowing you could have saved her. Knowing your pride killed her. You're evil, Florence whispered. I'm practical, Margaret corrected. I protect my family. My real family. Not some maid who spread lies and tried to trap my son with a fake pregnancy. It wasn't fake. Kate's voice cracked. Isaac knows the truth now. You can't hide it anymore. Can't I? Margaret turned to Kate. Her smile widened. Isaac believes what I tell him to believe. Just like he did 10 years ago. I've already explained to him that you trained your daughter to approach him. To manipulate him. To prey on his old guilt. His angry, Kate. Angry that you'd use a child to scheme your way back into his life. That's a lie. Florence shouted. He saw me. He believed me. I saw it in his eyes. You saw what you wanted to see. Margaret's voice was calm. Absolute. Isaac is my son. He trusts me. He always has. And by morning, he'll be on a plane to London for business. Far away from you. Far away from this mess. Florence felt her world crumbling. You can't do this. You can't just. I can do whatever I want. Margaret's voice hardened. I have money, power, lawyers. What do you have? A dying mother and a basket of oranges. The words hit like slaps. Each one true. Each one painful. Florence looked at her mother. At the tubes. At the machine keeping her alive. Beep. 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 She looked at the check. At the papers. She looked at Margaret's cold, triumphant face. Don't sign it, baby. Kate's voice was weak but fierce. Don't let her win. Don't let her make you as broken as she made me. But Mom, you'll die. Then I'll die free. Kate reached for Florence's hand. Squeezed it with the little strength she had. I'll die knowing my daughter has more courage than I ever did. That she fights when I gave up. That she's stronger than all of them. Tears streamed down Florence's face. I can't lose you. I can't be alone. You'll never be alone. Kate's eyes were wet. As long as you remember who you are. As long as you remember the truth. As long as you fight. Margaret's jaw tightened. How touching. How noble. How absolutely stupid. She nodded to the man in the suit. Call Dr. Reynolds. Tell him to stop all non-essential treatment for this patient. She's being discharged. What? Florence's voice rose. You can't discharge her. She'll die without the oxygen. Without. Then she dies. Margaret's voice was flat. Final. You had a choice. You made it. Now live with the consequences. The man in the suit pulled out his phone. Florence's mind raced. What could she do? She had no money. No power. No way to fight. Margaret owned the hospital. Owned the doctors. Owned everything. Wait. Florence's voice cracked. Wait, please. I'll sign. I'll sign whatever you want. Just please. Please save my mother. Florence, no. Kate tried to protest but a coughing fit seized her. Blood flecked her lips. Margaret held up her hand. The man in the suit paused. Say it clearly, Margaret commanded. Say that you'll sign the agreement. That you'll never contact Isaac. That you'll disappear. Florence felt something inside her breaking. Her dreams. Her hope. Her chance at having a father. At having a family. At having anything more than this desperate, poverty-stricken existence. But her mother was dying. Right now. Right in front of her. What choice did she have? I'll sign, Florence whispered. I'll do whatever you want. Just save her. Please. Margaret's smile returned. Victorious. Good girl. You're smarter than your mother after all. The man in the suit handed Florence a pen. Placed the papers on the bedside table. Florence picked up the pen. Her hand shook. The papers blurred through her tears. She was about to sign. About to give up everything. The door slammed open. Isaac stood there. His suit was wrinkled. His hair was messy. His eyes were wild. Don't sign that. His voice was low. Dangerous. Margaret spun around. Isaac. What are you doing here? I told you to go home. You told me a lot of things, Mother. Isaac stepped into the room. His eyes found Kate on the bed. His face crumpled. You told me she was a liar. A schemer. That she trained her daughter to manipulate me. She did. Margaret's composure cracked. Isaac, don't be foolish. I'm done being foolish. Isaac's voice rose. I've been foolish for 10 years. 10 years of believing your lies. 10 years of thinking I was betrayed when really I was the betrayer. He walked to Kate's bedside. Fell to his knees. Took her hand. Kate, he whispered. God, Kate. What have I done? What did I let them do to you? Kate's tears flowed freely. Isaac. You believe me now. I never should have stopped believing you. His voice broke. I was weak. I was a coward. I let my mother poison my mind. I let her destroy us. Florence watched, her heart in her throat. This was her father. On his knees. Crying. Broken. Margaret's face twisted with rage. Isaac, get up. You're embarrassing yourself. This woman is nothing. She's the woman I loved. Isaac stood, spinning to face his mother. She's the woman I promised to marry. The woman who carried my child while I abandoned her. The woman who's been dying in poverty while I lived in luxury built on lies. It wasn't lies. Margaret's voice was shrill now. I protected you. She was going to ruin your life. Ruin our family's name. No, Mother. Isaac's voice was cold. You ruined my life. You took everything that mattered and you destroyed it. And I let you because I was too weak to fight back. He turned to Florence. Looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time. You're my daughter, he said. Not a question. A statement. Florence nodded. Unable to speak. Isaac's face crumpled again. I have a daughter. 10 years old. And I never knew. I never got to hold you as a baby. Never got to see your first steps. Never got to. His voice broke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Florence felt her walls crumbling. This man. This stranger who was her father. He was sorry. He believed. He cared. She ran to him. Threw her arms around him. And sobbed. Isaac held her tight. His whole body shook. I'm here now, he whispered. I'm here. And I'm never leaving again. Margaret's face was white with fury. You're making a mistake, Isaac. These people will destroy you. They'll take everything. Let them. Isaac's voice was calm now. Resolved. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the company. I don't care about any of it. I care about them. My family. The family I should have protected 10 years ago. If you do this, Margaret's voice was icy, I'll cut you off. You'll have nothing. No inheritance. No position in the company. No access to the family accounts. Good. Isaac looked at her. No love in his eyes. No respect. Just disappointment. Maybe poverty will teach me to be a better man than wealth ever did. Margaret's mouth opened. Closed. She wasn't used to losing. To being defied. You'll regret this, she hissed. All of you will regret this. The only thing I regret, Isaac said quietly, is listening to you for so long. Margaret's face contorted with rage. She grabbed the man in the suit. Come. We're leaving. Let them rot together. She stormed out. The man in the suit followed, briefcase in hand. The check and papers gone. The offer rescinded. The door slammed shut. Silence filled the room. Broken only by the beep of the heart monitor. Beep. 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 Isaac turned back to Kate. I'm going to fix this, he said. I'm going to get you the best treatment. The best doctors. Whatever it takes. Isaac, Kate's voice was weak. Your mother meant what she said. She'll take everything from you. You'll have nothing. I'll have you. Isaac squeezed her hand. I'll have my daughter. That's not nothing. That's everything. Florence watched them. Her mother and father. Together. After 10 years. After so much pain. It should have been a happy moment. A triumphant moment. But something felt wrong. Something in the pit of Florence's stomach twisted with fear. Margaret had left too easily. Given up too quickly. A woman like that didn't just accept defeat. Florence walked to the window. Looked out at the parking lot. Saw Margaret's black car still sitting there. Waiting. And she knew. With cold certainty. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Isaac, she said. The word felt strange on her tongue. New. Fragile. She's going to come back. She's not going to let this go. Isaac looked at her. Saw the fear in her eyes. I know, he said quietly. But we'll be ready. Together. As a family. Kate coughed. Harder this time. Blood on her lips again. Isaac pressed the call button for the nurse. We need Dr. Reynolds. Now. But no one came. The hallway outside was silent. Too silent. Florence's fear grew. Something's wrong. Isaac went to the door. Opened it. Looked out. The hallway was empty. No nurses. No doctors. No one. Hello? Isaac called out. We need help in here. Nothing. Only echo. Isaac's face went pale. She didn't just cut me off. She owns this hospital. He looked at Kate. At the four. At the oxygen tube. She's not going to let Kate get treatment. She's going to let her die. Florence's world tilted. No. No, she can't do that. That's murder. Kate's breathing grew labored. The machine beeped faster. Irregular. Florence grabbed her father's arm. Do something. Please. Isaac looked around frantically. We need to move her. Get her out of here. Find another hospital. She's too weak. Kate gasped. I can't. I won't survive the move. You won't survive staying here. Isaac was already disconnecting the four. His hands shook but moved with determination. The lights went out. Complete darkness filled the room. Only the glow of the heart monitor remained. Beep, beep, beep. Then that went dark too. The beeping stopped. Mom? Florence screamed. I'm here, baby. Kate's voice came from the darkness. Weak. Fading. I'm still here. Isaac fumbled in the darkness. My phone. I need my phone. We need light. A beam of light suddenly cut through the darkness. But it wasn't from Isaac's phone. It came from the doorway. Margaret stood there, holding a flashlight. Her face cast in shadow. Her smile visible even in the dim light. Oops, she said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. It seems the hospital is experiencing technical difficulties. These old buildings. So unreliable. I do hope nothing unfortunate happens during the blackout. You monster. Florence rushed at her. You're killing her. Margaret didn't move. Didn't even flinch. I'm not doing anything. The power went out. Accidents happen. Especially in hospitals that treat undesirable patients. Isaac stepped forward. His voice was deadly calm. If Kate dies, I'll make sure everyone knows. The police. The media. Everyone. I'll tell them you murdered her. With what proof? Margaret's smile widened. The word of a man who just lost his inheritance because of mental instability? The word of a child? A maid? You have nothing, Isaac. You are nothing now. The heart monitor remained dark. Silent. Florence couldn't hear her mother breathing anymore. Mom? Florence's voice broke. Mom, please. Please don't leave me. A hand found hers in the darkness. Weak. Cold. But there. I love you, Kate whispered. So quiet. So far away. Always. Forever. Remember that. No. Florence squeezed the hand. No, don't say goodbye. Don't give up. Dad's here. We're together. We're finally together. That's enough, Kate breathed. That's more than I ever hoped for. The hand went slack. Florence screamed. A sound of pure anguish that tore from her chest. Isaac fell to his knees. Kate. Kate, no. Stay with me. Please. Margaret's flashlight clicked off. Her footsteps faded down the hallway. In the darkness, Florence held her mother's hand. And felt her world shatter into pieces too small to ever put back together. The emergency lights flickered on. Dim red. Casting everything in hellish light. Isaac performed CPR. Desperate. Frantic. Pushing on Kate's chest. Breathing into her mouth. Come on, he pleaded. Come on, Kate. Fight. Please fight. Florence watched. Numb. Broken. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not when they'd finally found each other. Not when they'd finally become a family. A doctor rushed in. Real medical staff. Now that Margaret had left. Now that it was too late. They pushed Isaac aside. Worked on Kate. Machines. Injections. Electricity shocking her body. Florence watched her mother's body jump. Watched the doctors' faces grow grim. Watched hope die in real time. Time of death, the doctor said quietly. 11:47 p.m. The words hung in the air. Final. Absolute. Florence's mother was dead. Isaac made a sound. Not quite a scream. Not quite a sob. Something animal. Something broken. Florence felt nothing. The numbness spread through her body like ice. This wasn't real. This was a nightmare. She'd wake up soon. Back in their small room. Her mother coughing but alive. Alive. But she didn't wake up. Because this was real. Her mother was gone. And Margaret had won. Isaac pulled Florence into his arms. They collapsed to the floor together. Holding each other. Two people who'd lost everything. I'm sorry, Isaac kept whispering. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. All my fault. Florence couldn't speak. Couldn't cry. Couldn't feel anything except the cold emptiness where her mother used to be. Hours passed. Maybe minutes. Time meant nothing anymore. Finally, Isaac stood. His face was different now. Harder. Older. Something dangerous lurked in his eyes. She won't get away with this, he said. His voice was quiet but filled with iron. My mother won't get away with this. Florence looked up at him. What can we do? She has everything. We have nothing. Isaac's jaw tightened. Not nothing. We have the truth. We have each other. And we have something my mother never counted on. What? We have nothing left to lose. He pulled out his phone. Made a call. James? It's Isaac. I need you to call everyone. Every media contact we have. Every journalist. Every news station. I'm giving an interview. Tomorrow. And I'm telling them everything. He listened. Then spoke again. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what it destroys. They need to know what kind of woman Margaret Stone really is. What she's capable of. What she did. He hung up. Looked at Florence. I can't bring your mother back, he said. But I can make sure her death means something. I can make sure my mother pays. Florence stood. Her legs shook but held. I want to help. Florence, you're 10 years old. You shouldn't have to. I'm not a child anymore. Florence's voice was cold. Empty. I stopped being a child the moment I watched my mother die. I want to help destroy her. I want Margaret to lose everything like we lost everything. Isaac looked at her. Saw something in her eyes that made him nod slowly. Okay, he said. Okay. We'll do this together. They left the hospital. Left Kate's body behind to be taken to the morgue. Left the place where Margaret had murdered her. Because it was murder. They both knew it. Even if the law wouldn't call it that. Margaret had killed Kate as surely as if she'd used a gun. And now she was going to pay. Isaac took Florence to a hotel. A small one. Not one his mother owned. Not one her spies could reach. They sat in the room. Neither sleeping. Neither speaking. Just planning. When the sun rose, Florence walked to the window. Looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Margaret was waking up. Celebrating her victory. Believing she'd won. She had no idea what was coming. Florence was her mother's daughter. Isaac's daughter. And she was done being invisible. Done being powerless. Done being the poor girl who sold oranges and watched her world burn. Margaret wanted a war? She was going to get one. The television studio was cold. Bright lights made Florence's eyes water. Cameras pointed at them like weapons. People rushed around with microphones and clipboards. Everyone moved with purpose. With urgency. This was going to be the biggest interview of the year. Isaac Stone. Billionaire. Son of the most powerful family in the city. About to expose his own mother on live television. Florence sat next to him in a chair that was too big for her. Her feet barely touched the ground. She wore a simple black dress. Isaac had bought it yesterday. Black for mourning. Black for war. Her mother had been dead for 3 days. 3 days of planning. 3 days of gathering evidence. 3 days of Isaac making phone calls, collecting documents, building a case that would destroy his mother's empire. Margaret had tried to stop them. Lawyers arrived at the hotel with threats. Court orders. Demands that Isaac remain silent. That Florence be placed in foster care while proper guardianship was established. Isaac had ignored them all. He'd hired his own lawyers. Better ones. Meaner ones. Lawyers who didn't care about the Stone family reputation. Who only cared about winning. 2 minutes, a woman with a headset called out. Mr. Stone, are you ready? Isaac looked at Florence. Are you sure about this? Once we do this, there's no going back. My mother will come after us with everything she has. Florence thought about her mother. About the hospital. About the darkness. About the hand going cold in hers. I'm sure, she said. The interviewer walked onto the set. Her name was Diana Reeves. She was famous for taking down corrupt politicians and dishonest businessmen. She didn't smile. Didn't offer comfort. She just looked at them with sharp, intelligent eyes. This is going to be difficult, she said. I'm going to ask hard questions. About your mother, Kate. About the pregnancy. About everything. Can you handle that? Florence nodded. I can handle it. 1 minute, the woman with the headset called. The studio went quiet. Everyone found their positions. The lights grew brighter. The camera started rolling. Diana looked directly into the camera. Good evening. Tonight we have an exclusive interview with Isaac Stone, billionaire businessman, and his daughter Florence. What they're about to reveal will shock you. It's a story of love, betrayal, and a powerful family's darkest secrets. She turned to Isaac. Mr. Stone, 3 days ago, a woman named Kate died at City Hospital. You claim your mother, Margaret Stone, is responsible for her death. Those are serious accusations. They are not accusations, Isaac said, his voice steady. They are facts. Tell us what happened. Isaac took a breath. Then he told everything. How he fell in love with Kate 10 years ago. How she worked as a maid in his family's house. How they planned to get married. How Kate got pregnant. My mother found out, Isaac continued. She told Kate to take money and leave. Kate refused. So my mother destroyed her instead. She fired her. Spread lies about her. Made sure she couldn't find work anywhere in the city. And you? Diana's voice was sharp. Where were you during all this? Isaac's face tightened. I believed my mother's lies. She showed me fake evidence that Kate was trying to trap me. That the baby wasn't mine. I was 20 years old. Weak. Stupid. I believed her. So you abandoned Kate? Yes. The word came out broken. I abandoned the woman I loved. And my daughter. I left them to struggle in poverty while I lived in luxury built on lies. Diana turned to Florence. Florence, you're 10 years old. You grew up without your father. Without money. Your mother was sick for a long time. What was that like? Florence remembered the script Isaac's lawyers had prepared. The safe answers. The careful words. She ignored them. We were starving, she said, her voice clear. My mom was dying. We couldn't afford medicine. I sold oranges in the street every day. I counted coins hoping we'd have enough for rice. For bread. For one more day. Her voice didn't shake. The numbness inside her had turned into something else. Something cold and hard and sharp. And 3 days ago, I found my father. I told him about my mom. He believed me. He wanted to help. But his mother. Florence looked directly into the camera. Margaret Stone came to the hospital. She offered us money to disappear. When we refused, she had the power cut. She had the staff leave. And she let my mother die in the darkness. The studio was silent. Even the camera operators had stopped moving. Diana leaned forward. That's murder. Yes, Isaac said simply. It is. Do you have proof? Isaac pulled out a folder. Hospital records showing my mother owned City Hospital. Security footage showing her arriving at the hospital that night. Phone records showing her calling the hospital administrator exactly 17 minutes before the power went out. He placed each document on the table between them. Witness statements from nurses who were told to leave the floor. Emails showing my mother's assistant arranging the maintenance emergency that caused the blackout. Diana's eyes widened. You're saying Margaret Stone deliberately created a situation where Kate would die? I'm saying my mother is a murderer, Isaac said. And I'm saying she's gotten away with destroying lives for decades. Not just Kate's. Others. Anyone who threatened her control. Her power. Her perfect family image. Diana looked at the documents. At Isaac. At Florence. This was bigger than she'd expected. Much bigger. We need to go to commercial, she said. When we come back, we'll discuss what happens next. The lights dimmed. The cameras stopped rolling. Diana's assistant rushed over with a phone. Ms. Reeves, you need to see this. It's trending. Everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. The hashtag is already viral. #JusticeForKate. Diana looked at the phone. Her eyebrows rose. We're getting calls from other victims. Women who say Margaret Stone destroyed their lives too. Other families who, she stopped. Looked at Isaac. This is bigger than one murder. This is a pattern. Isaac's jaw tightened. I know. I've spent the last 3 days finding them. The other people my mother hurt. They're ready to talk. To testify. To bring her down. 30 seconds, someone called. The lights came back up. The cameras rolled. Diana's face was serious. Professional. But Florence could see the excitement in her eyes. This was the story of the decade. We're back, Diana said to the camera. And in the last few minutes, this story has exploded. We're getting reports that. The studio doors burst open. Margaret Stone walked in. Surrounded by lawyers. Security guards. Her face was a mask of rage barely contained beneath perfect makeup. Turn those cameras off, she commanded. Now. No one moved. I said turn them off. Margaret's voice rose. This interview is over. My son is having a mental breakdown. He's not competent too. The cameras stay on, mother, Isaac said quietly. Unless you want to be arrested for trespassing on private property. This is a television studio. Not your house. You don't own it. You don't control it. Margaret's eyes found Florence. Pure hatred burned there. You, she hissed. You little snake. Just like your mother. Manipulating. Scheming. Trying to destroy everything I built. You destroyed yourself, Florence said. Her voice didn't shake. Didn't waver. You murdered my mother. And now everyone knows. I didn't murder anyone. Margaret's composure cracked. Your mother was sick. She died because she was poor. Because she made bad choices. That's not my fault. You cut the power, Isaac said. You sent the staff away. You made sure she'd die alone in the dark. I did no such thing. But Margaret's eyes shifted. Just slightly. Just enough. She started. Stopped. Her lawyers grabbed her arms. Don't say anything, one of them hissed. We're leaving. Now. But Margaret jerked away from them. Her control was slipping. Her perfect mask crumbling. You want to know the truth? She spat at Isaac. Fine. Here's the truth. That woman was nothing. A maid. A nobody. She would have ruined you. Ruined our family. Everything we built. Everything we are. I protected you from her. I protected our legacy. By murdering her? Isaac's voice was ice. By doing what was necessary. Margaret's voice rose. You were going to throw everything away for what? For love? Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't build empires. Love is for poor people who have nothing else. The studio was silent. Every camera captured Margaret's face. Her rage. Her admission. I did what any mother would do, Margaret continued, her voice shaking. I protected my son. If that woman died, it's because she was weak. Because she didn't have the strength to survive in the real world. That's not murder. That's natural selection. Florence stood up. Walked toward Margaret. Her small body trembling but her voice steady. My mother survived 10 years of your cruelty, she said. She survived poverty. Sickness. Heartbreak. She survived everything you threw at her. She only died because you were too cowardly to let her live. Too afraid that she'd tell the truth. That people would see you for what you really are. And what's that? Margaret sneered. A monster. The word hung in the air. Simple. True. Devastating. Margaret's face contorted. She raised her hand. Going to slap Florence. Isaac caught her wrist. Touch my daughter and I'll break your arm. His voice was calm. But his eyes were deadly. Margaret jerked away. Looked around the studio. At the cameras. At the people watching with disgust on their faces. At her lawyers trying to pull her away. Diana leaned forward. Mrs. Stone, are you aware that this interview is being broadcast live? That millions of people are watching right now? That everything you say is being recorded? Margaret's face went pale. She'd been so focused on stopping them, she hadn't realized she'd walked into a trap. Reality crashed down on her. She just confessed on live television. Millions of people had watched her admit to letting Kate die. Had watched her call it natural selection. This isn't over, she whispered. I'll destroy both of you. I'll take everything. You'll have nothing. Nothing. We already have nothing, Isaac said quietly. You took it all 3 days ago. But you know what? Nothing is better than what you have. Because at least we can sleep at night. Margaret's mouth opened. Closed. She had no response. Her lawyers finally succeeded in pulling her away. They rushed her out of the studio. The doors slammed shut behind them. The silence lasted 3 seconds. Then chaos erupted. Diana's phone rang. Every phone in the studio rang. The assistant rushed over with a tablet. The police, she said breathlessly. They're issuing a warrant. For Margaret Stone's arrest. The district attorney saw the broadcast. They're calling it criminally negligent homicide. Isaac closed his eyes. Florence saw tears leak from the corners. Justice. Finally. After 10 years. After so much pain. Justice. Diana turned to the camera. You heard it here first, folks. Margaret Stone has just confessed on live television to actions that led to Kate's death. We'll continue to follow this story as it develops. For now, this is Diana Reeves, signing off. The cameras stopped. The lights dimmed. Florence felt her legs give out. Isaac caught her. Held her up. We did it, he whispered. We did it, Florence. Your mother's death won't be for nothing. Florence nodded. But she felt empty. Hollow. Yes, they'd exposed Margaret. Yes, justice was coming. But her mother was still dead. Still gone. Still never coming back. All the justice in the world couldn't change that. The next weeks were a blur. Margaret was arrested. The video of her confession played on every news channel. Social media exploded. Other victims came forward. Women Margaret had threatened. Families she'd destroyed. Business partners she'd ruined. The Stone family empire crumbled. Stock prices plummeted. Board members resigned. Investigators discovered decades of corruption. Bribery. Blackmail. Illegal business practices. Margaret's lawyers tried everything. Claimed she'd been under duress. That the confession was coerced. That she was mentally unstable. But the evidence was overwhelming. The truth was undeniable. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison for criminally negligent homicide. Her assets were frozen. Her reputation destroyed. Everything she'd built, everything she'd protected, gone. Isaac lost everything too. His inheritance. His position in the company. His place in high society. But he gained something more valuable. He gained Florence. They moved into a small apartment. 2 bedrooms. Normal furniture. No marble floors. No crystal chandeliers. No staff. Just a father and daughter learning to be a family. It was hard. Isaac didn't know how to cook. Florence didn't know how to trust. They fought. They cried. They struggled. But they tried. Every day. They tried. Isaac got a job at a small business consulting firm. The salary was a fraction of what he used to make. But it was honest work. Clean work. Florence went to school. A real school. Not working in the streets. Not selling oranges. Actually being a child for the first time in years. She made friends. Slowly. Carefully. She was different from other 10-year-olds. She'd seen too much. Lost too much. Grown up too fast. But she tried. Like her father. She tried. 6 months after her mother's death, Isaac took Florence to the cemetery. They stood in front of Kate's grave. Simple headstone. Fresh flowers. "I'm sorry," Isaac said to the stone. "I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry you died believing I never loved you." He placed a hand on the cold marble. "But I promise you this. I'll take care of her. Our daughter. I'll protect her. I'll love her. I'll be the father I should have been from the start." Florence knelt down. Traced her mother's name carved in stone. "Kate. I miss you, Mom," Florence whispered. "Every day. Every moment. But I'm okay. Dad's taking care of me. We're taking care of each other." Isaac knelt beside her. Rolled up his sleeve. The mark was still there on his wrist. Faded but visible. A promise made 15 years ago. They stood together in the quiet cemetery. The sun was setting. Golden light painted everything soft and warm. "Do you think she'd be proud of us?" Florence asked quietly. Isaac thought about that. About the interview. The trial. The justice they'd fought for. About this new life they were building from the ruins of the old one. "I think," he said slowly, "she'd be proud that we didn't give up. That we fought. That we chose love over money. Truth over comfort. Each other over everything else." Florence nodded. That sounded right. That sounded like her mother. They walked back to their car. An old sedan. Nothing fancy. It made strange noises and the air conditioning didn't work. But it was theirs. As Isaac drove them home, Florence looked out the window. Watched the city pass by. The same city where she'd sold oranges. Where she'd struggled. Where she'd lost everything. But also the city where she'd found her father. Where she'd discovered the truth. Where she'd learned that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is keep fighting even when everything is lost. "Dad?" she said quietly. "Yeah? Thank you. For choosing us. For choosing Mom. Even though it cost you everything." Isaac's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "You didn't cost me everything, Florence. You gave me everything. A reason to be better. A chance to be the man I should have been. A family." He glanced at her. Smiled. A real smile. Sad but genuine. "Besides," he added, "I'm finally rich in the ways that matter. And no one can take that away." Florence smiled back. Her first real smile since her mother died. Maybe they would be okay. Maybe this small life, this simple existence, was enough. More than enough. Maybe her mother's death hadn't been for nothing. Maybe the truth she'd uncovered, the secret that shattered everything, had also rebuilt something stronger. Something real. Something that looked a lot like love. 1 year later, Florence stood in front of her school. She was 11 now. Taller. Stronger. Still carrying the weight of everything that happened, but learning to bear it. Her father pulled up in their old car. He was smiling. Actually smiling. "How was your day?" he asked as she got in. "Good," she said. And meant it. "We're learning about justice and social studies. About people who fought against corrupt systems." Isaac raised an eyebrow. "Yeah? What did you learn?" "That fighting back matters. That speaking truth to power changes things. That even when you lose everything, you can still win if you don't give up." Isaac's smile widened. "Sounds like a smart teacher." "She is." Florence paused. "She actually mentioned us today. Our case. How it changed laws about hospital negligence. How it made other victims feel brave enough to come forward." Isaac's expression grew serious. "Proud. Your mother's legacy," he said quietly. "She changed the world without even knowing it." "Yeah," Florence said. "She did." They drove home through the city. Past the Grand Palace Hotel where Florence had first seen her father. Past City Hospital where her mother had died. Past the old neighborhood where they'd lived in poverty. All those places of pain and loss. But also places of discovery. Of truth. Of transformation. Florence had started life as a poor girl selling oranges. She'd discovered a secret that shattered everything she believed. She'd lost her mother. Found her father. Destroyed an empire. Learned what really mattered. And now? Now she was just Florence. Daughter of Kate and Isaac. Student. Friend. Survivor. Marked forever by love, loss, and the courage to fight back. And that, she thought as they pulled into their apartment complex, was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Would you have collected the money Margaret offered? Let us know in the comment. Kindly like, share, and subscribe. Comment where you're watching from. If would like to donate to help us keep sharing these life-changing stories, check the link in the description to support. Every dollar counts and we're truly grateful for your support. Thank you, and see you in the next video.